basically saying that the kids are not safe around Iman. She said Iman be smoking weed around the kids and be forgetting to feed them. One of the wildest parts of the allegations is Teyana says that Iman put the kids in a rideshare in Chicago and had them dropped off at the United Center Arena alone while he had a private driver drop him off at the station.
No one expected the courtroom to go completely silent until Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert's daughter took the stand. In a shocking turn of events, the young girl testified in the ongoing legal battle between her parents, leaving not just the judge but the entire room in disbelief. Iman, who's been pushing hard for full custody, reportedly went pale as his daughter spoke out in front of everyone. What she said has everyone questioning who's really telling the truth in this messy custody fight. Some said they even heard gasps from the gallery. It was the kind of moment that flips the entire vibe of a courtroom, raw, unscripted, and full of emotion. People who were there claim it felt like time stood still. Whatever side you're on, no one can deny this little girl stole the spotlight, and she did it with nothing but her truth. According to multiple eyewitnesses, the courtroom energy shifted instantly when the judge called their daughter to the stand. Everyone, including Iman, was visibly tense. Teyana reportedly sat up straighter in her seat while Iman looked like he was holding his breath. The girl reportedly walked in with confidence, but also with a quiet seriousness that you don't expect from someone so young. Court officers stood at attention, clearly understanding the gravity of what was about to happen. A few attorneys even leaned forward to catch every word. When she began speaking, all eyes were locked in. This wasn't a media stunt or a legal tactic. It was a child trying to be heard. Insiders claim the child didn't hesitate to say what was on her mind. She allegedly said, "Mom takes care of me. She makes sure I'm okay even when she's sad." The courtroom reportedly fell even quieter after that. These weren't words given to her. They felt lived, felt, and painfully honest. Teyana's supporters quietly nodded, while Iman's lawyers exchanged nervous glances. That statement went directly against their argument that Teyana was too emotionally unstable to parent. For Iman, it may have been the moment he realized the court battle wasn't just legal. It was personal, and now public. The emotional impact hit like a wave, and it wasn't easy to recover from. Witnesses say Iman was frozen as he listened to his daughter. He looked stunned, and for a few moments, he didn't even blink. A court reporter posted online, "You could hear a pin drop. Iman looked like he'd seen a ghost." Others described him as pale and tight-lipped, as though he was trying not to lose control. His attorney leaned over and whispered something in his ear, but he didn't react. That lack of response only drew more attention to his internal struggle. It's one thing to face your ex in court. It's another to face your child's truth. And the truth didn't seem to lean in his favor. Teyana reportedly tried to remain composed, but once her daughter started sharing personal moments, she wiped her face several times. One observer said, "She kept taking deep breaths. You could tell she was holding back." At one point, Teyana placed her hand over her chest as her daughter spoke. Her reaction wasn't performative. It looked like a mother deeply moved by her child's courage. A few of her friends sitting nearby were also seen tearing up. People who know her say this wasn't just a custody hearing. It was her entire identity as a mother being put on trial. And her daughter's testimony seemed to validate everything she's been fighting for. Trying to contain the damage as best they could, Iman's attorneys quickly jumped into action during a critical moment. In the courtroom, when Teyana and Iman's daughter began speaking about life at home, particularly past arguments between her parents, Iman's legal team immediately objected. They insisted that such topics were inappropriate for a child to speak on in court, especially in a custody hearing. Their argument was based on the claim that adult conflicts should not be put on the shoulders of a young child, and that discussing them in such a setting was potentially harmful. But the judge wasn't convinced. In a measured but firm decision, the judge allowed parts of the testimony to continue, stating that the emotional context the child could provide was crucial in determining what her living environment had truly been like. Legal analysts watching the hearing closely later said that this moment marked a clear turning point. The judge's decision to hear the child out wasn't just procedural. It opened a window into the private world behind the polished public image both parents had portrayed. And as the daughter continued to speak, her innocence and honesty became powerful. She didn't embellish or dramatize. She just spoke from the heart. And the more she talked, the more the courtroom leaned in. Her words painted a picture that wasn't always flattering to Iman, and it became clear why his lawyers had wanted to shut it down. The objections, while technically valid, ended up drawing more attention to what they were trying to prevent from being heard. It gave the impression that Iman's team was nervous about what the child might reveal, and unfortunately for them, that perception stuck. One of the most striking moments of her testimony came when she made a brief but telling remark. While she didn't mention Aaron Pierre by name, she did say, "Mom's friend is really nice to me. He makes me feel safe." It was a simple sentence, said without fanfare, but it carried significant emotional weight. The reaction in the courtroom was immediate and almost physical. There were soft murmurs, subtle glances exchanged. Some people turned toward Aaron, who was quietly seated in the back, while others turned their attention toward Iman, who was reportedly shifting uncomfortably in his seat. The moment was subtle, but powerful. It was one of those rare instances where a child's voice cut through all the legal posturing and told a deeper truth. That one sentence from the child shifted how many people in the room, and later the public viewed Aaron's presence in Teyana's life. To some, it served as confirmation that Aaron wasn't just a rebound or a temporary figure. He had a real, calming, positive influence in the household. It also raised deeper questions about Iman's motivations in the custody battle. Was this fight really about the child? Or was it about his unresolved issues with Teyana and discomfort over another man stepping into a fatherly role? Whether or not Aaron had ever tried to take that place wasn't the point. The child clearly felt comfortable around him, and that mattered. Aaron Pierre's quiet presence in the courtroom didn't go unnoticed either. He didn't testify. He didn't make any dramatic entrances or draw attention to himself. In fact, he barely moved. But multiple observers, including journalists and attendees in the gallery, noted that his eyes stayed on Teyana almost the entire time. His body language was calm, grounded. A reporter who was present described him as focused, respectful, like someone who was there to support, not to stir things up. It was a stark contrast to the tension that radiated from Iman's side of the courtroom, where his legal team looked visibly tense and prepared for damage control at every turn. When the hearing ended, Aaron quietly stood and left without speaking, to the press or lingering around the courthouse. He slipped out through a side exit, avoiding the cameras, the questions, and the chaos. And yet, the silence spoke volumes. Fans online later praised him for his composure and respect, with many calling his appearance classy, mature, and exactly what Teyana needs right now. In a case so full of public spectacle, grandstanding, and emotionally charged narratives, Aaron's restraint came across as refreshing. It was a quiet strength that didn't need to be shouted or proven. He was there, and that was enough. His decision to show up, sit in the back, and simply be present was seen by many as a statement in itself. He wasn't fighting for attention. He wasn't trying to insert himself into the drama. He was simply standing by someone he cares about during one of the hardest moments of her life. For Teyana, that kind of support, gentle, patient, unwavering, might have meant more than any legal win. And for fans and observers alike, it became another layer in an already complicated story. As news spread that the daughter had testified, fans flooded social media with support. Hashtags like Shark Brave Queen and Protect Black Girls began trending within hours. Videos of fans outside the courthouse cheering and holding signs made it to TikTok and X. People praised the girl for her bravery, especially given her age and the pressure she must have felt. She stood tall when most adults would have folded, one post read. Others applauded Teyana for raising such a strong, articulate daughter. The online reaction was overwhelmingly in her favor, and it's clear the public sees this child as a symbol of strength in a painful situation. Not everyone is on board. Sources close to Iman's side say the testimony felt scripted and coached. His family reportedly believes Teyana and her team are pulling emotional strings and exploiting the child for sympathy. One source said, "That girl didn't come up with those words on her own." They've expressed concerns that the child is being put in a position no young person should be, torn between two parents in a public spotlight. Iman's family also criticized the judge's decision to allow the testimony, calling it reckless. Still, they've offered no evidence to support their coaching claims, and the court hasn't flagged any red flags so far. On the other hand, Teyana's close circle clapped back. They say the daughter asked to speak and that Teyana only agreed, after long discussions with her legal team and therapists. One friend wrote on social media, "She didn't push her child into anything. She supported her voice." Another friend added, "If she didn't allow her daughter to speak, people would say she's hiding something. Damned if you do, damned if you don't." Teyana's camp is standing firm that nothing was staged. They believe this moment was about truth, not tactics, and that truth came from the heart of a child, not the strategy of a legal team. One of the biggest viral moments came from a leaked courtroom sketch showing Iman with his hands over his face. The image made its rounds online within hours, and memes followed instantly. One caption read, "When your own daughter shuts down your whole case." Another joked, "That's not a legal loss, that's a personal L." While the internet can be brutal, the sketch captured what words couldn't: raw emotional defeat. Fans dissected every part of it, from Iman's slumped posture to the way his fingers covered his eyes. Some called it the exact moment the case turned, and others called it poetic justice. Despite the powerful testimony, the judge said more time was needed before making a custody decision. He thanked the young girl for her words and noted how articulate and calm she was under pressure. Legal experts say that acknowledgement could weigh heavily in the final ruling. Though no decision was made, Teyana's legal team reportedly walked out of court with new energy. They believe the judge now has a deeper understanding of the emotional environment their daughter is experiencing. And with public support growing louder, Iman may find himself not just fighting a legal case, but a public one too. What do you think? Should children ever be asked to testify in family court? Was Iman genuinely shocked, or was he just mad that the narrative flipped on him? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe for more exclusive updates on this developing story.